Everyone knew Ronan Blake and I had loved each other down to the bone. To save me, he once left the only vial of antivenom in my hands and waited for death himself. To protect him, I once used my body to block a kidnapper's knife and took a fatal blow meant for him. Everyone believed we would spend our lives together. But the day after he proposed, I broke up with him without warning and married Derek Langford, the man who had been pursuing me for years. Even after I betrayed him, Ronan never hated me. He still loved me like before. Later, when my daughter was in a car accident, he broke one of his own legs to save her. Derek had once despised Ronan to the bone, yet even he was eventually moved by Ronan's love for me and became close friends with him. After Ronan was accidentally diagnosed with a terminal illness, Derek insisted on donating a kidney to him. But when I heard the news, I turned cold at once. Derek Langford, if you insist on giving one of your kidneys to Ronan Blake, then we're getting divorced immediately. Derek told me not to worry about him. My daughter cried and begged me to save Uncle Ronan. But I looked straight into Ronan's affectionate eyes and laughed coldly. What I want is for Ronan Blake to die with no grave to lie in. If you dare give him even half a kidney, I'll leave you completely, even if it means giving up custody of Ella. Save him or choose me. Decide for yourself. The hospital room went deathly silent. Derek stared at Ronan, then at me. Audrey, this isn't the time to make a scene. I know you're afraid I'll misunderstand your relationship with him. I admit I used to think the worst. But he broke a leg saving our daughter. If we stand by and let him die, that's too cold-blooded. The elderly woman in the same ward nodded and looked at me reproachfully. Exactly. Ms. Vale, we've all seen how good Mr. Blake has been to you. Even if you married someone else and no longer love him, you don't need to be this cruel and cut off his last chance. After I said those harsh words in the ward, I drove straight home. The moment I walked in, I saw my parents and Derek's parents sitting in the living room, their expressions grave. When my mother saw me, she was about to speak, but Derek's mother stopped her. She sighed and looked at me helplessly. Audrey, we all know about Ronan. Are you refusing to let Derek help him because you're worried we'll think something happened between you and Ronan? If that's the reason, don't overthink it. We watched Ronan grow up too. Even though you two were together before, we won't misunderstand. Derek doesn't mind, so why are you so against it? Looking at her open-minded expression, I said nothing and turned to leave. But my mother rushed over and grabbed my arm, her face darker than a storm cloud. Audrey, how did you become so heartless? Back then, you dumped Ronan without warning and married Derek less than a month later. Any other man would have hated you to death. But Ronan not only didn't hate you, he's treated you and Derek well all these years. Where else can you find such a good man? Do you know both you and Derek are compatible kidney donors for Ronan? But he refused to use yours no matter what. Even if you don't love him anymore, for the sake of everything he's done for you, you shouldn't cut off his way to live. I pushed my mother's hand away and smiled at her anxious face. So what? Did I force him to be good to me? Because of him, Derek and I have fought countless times over the years. Ronan knows that better than anyone. A curse like him can die for all I care. Once he's dead, my life will finally be quiet. You want me to save him? Dream on. The moment I finished, my mother slapped me hard. Her eyes were red as she pointed at me, trembling with fury. You animal. You heartless animal. How did I give birth to such an ungrateful daughter? You don't appreciate someone's kindness, and now you want to kill the person who helped you. I held my cheek, forcing down the sting in my nose. Before I could argue, Derek's mother pulled me aside to calm things down. She sighed, comforting my mother while advising me. Audrey, I've watched you grow up. I know you're a good girl. Tell me honestly, are you hiding something? Or did Ronan hurt you by being with another woman, and that's why you're being so cruel? I glanced at her and sneered. I can't speak for anything else, but when Ronan and I were together, he never touched another woman. Derek's mother looked confused. Then why do you hate him so much? He lost a leg saving Ella, and you still won't forgive him. I forced down the emotions surging in my chest. Forget losing a leg. Even if he had died for Ella, that would still have been what he owed. As for the kidney donation, my position is clear. If Derek donates to him, I will divorce him. If any of you helps Ronan find a compatible kidney, I'll retaliate to the end. If you don't mind making an enemy of me, go ahead and try. Then I left. After all, the Vale family was now under my control. No matter how much my parents disagreed, they would not truly dare fall out with me completely. As for the Langfords, several of their major deals were in my hands. They wouldn't dare act rashly either. When I got into the car, my young assistant finally could not hold back. Miss Vale, I really am curious. Why are you so determined? From what I saw before, you and Mr. Blake really seem to have deep feelings. And Mr. Langford doesn't even mind. So why are you so? I looked at her and said word by word, because I once truly loved Ronan Blake. That is exactly why I have to watch him die. My assistant was stunned. Did Mr. Blake do something to betray you? I froze suddenly, as if something had struck me. My chest ached with a hollow pain. After a long while, I lowered my head and laughed at myself. No, Ronan loved me deeply. He never betrayed me. When I accepted his proposal, I truly wanted to spend the rest of my life with him. But now, everything had changed. Now, I only wanted Ronan Blake to die. It was late at night when I returned home alone. But the moment I stepped into the bedroom, my smile froze. Derek sat on the bed, looking at me quietly. Everything in the room had changed. On the desk were books Ronan liked to read. The flowers in the vase had been replaced with wild roses, Ronan's favorite. And in front of Derek was an empty medicine bottle. I stayed silent, but Derek did not let me ignore it. Audrey, have you really forgotten all these things? Even if you forgot everything else, you wouldn't forget this, would you? He tapped the medicine bottle and sighed, his expression grave. I really hated Ronan before, especially when we first got married. It's ridiculous now, but back then, I misunderstood your relationship and even challenged him to a fight. No matter how I hit him, he didn't fight back. In the end, he showed me this. Only then did I learn that when the two of you went exploring in the rainforest, you were both bitten by venomous snakes, but there was only one vial of anti-venom. He gave it to you and nearly died from the venom himself. After that, I understood that he truly loved you. No matter what I did, I couldn't compare to him. But I also knew that without him, you wouldn't be here now. So to me, he really is a benefactor. He stood and wrapped his arms around my waist, sighing beside my ear. Audrey, I don't know why you broke up with him so abruptly back then, but believe me, I'm willing to save him. I swear I won't do anything during surgery to harm him. You don't have to worry that he'll ruin our marriage. You don't have to worry I'll hurt him either. Let's help him, okay? Derek sounded so sincere that I almost felt moved. But I only stayed silent, staring at that little medicine bottle until tears nearly fell. I had never forgotten. Back then, when I thought I was going to die and saw Ronan leave the chance to live to me, I had loved him and hurt for him all at once. So I did not hide it. Derek, I admit that even now I haven't completely forgotten Ronan. I remember how good he was to me. I remember every moment we shared. You could say I still love him. But the next second, I shoved Derek away and said coldly, and that is exactly why I must send him to his death. Only when he dies can my life return to normal. Only then can our marriage continue. Derek looked at me with a complicated expression. After a long while, he said slowly, Audrey Vale, to cover your guilty conscience, you want someone who loves you to die. I've lived with you for 5 or 6 years. How did I never realize your heart was this vicious? If I block your path one day, will you treat me like this too? I could not be bothered with him and was about to leave. But my 4-year-old daughter, Ella, suddenly pushed open the door. Her eyes were red as she rushed into my arms. Mommy, please save Uncle Ronan, okay? Uncle Ronan was hurt so badly because he saved me. I don't want Uncle Ronan to die. I looked at the daughter I had once loved most and smiled coldly. Is that so? Too bad. Your Uncle Ronan is going to hell soon. I turned to leave, but as I brushed past Ella, I accidentally knocked into her. She fell to the floor and immediately cried in pain. Derek picked her up at once, glaring at me. Audrey, Ella is just a child. Why would you say something so cruel to her? Ronan and I were both blind. How did we ever fall for a woman like you? You don't deserve to be Ella's mother. Ella curled in Derek's arms, crying like her heart was breaking. The way she looked at me became rejecting and hateful. Mommy is bad. Ella doesn't want bad mommy. Uncle Ronan is 10,000 times better than mommy. Ella wants Uncle Ronan. Listening to that sharp, piercing childish voice, I suddenly felt every bit of irritation I had suppressed rush up. I turned and said harshly to Ella, Fine, you can go to him right now. Once I freeze all your bank cards, you can go starve with your Uncle Ronan. Ella immediately went quiet, but her red eyes still glared at me fiercely. Derek looked utterly disappointed. Audrey, do you have any humanity left? You're this cruel even to your own daughter? I laughed coldly, unmoved. I said whoever stands on Ronan's side is my enemy. Ella is no exception. Derek, are you addicted to wearing a green hat? You'd rather fall out with your own wife just to save the man who pursued me. Or do you have some filthy little kink? Derek's face changed instantly. A flicker of guilt also passed through Ella's eyes. I ignored them and went straight to a hotel. On the way, my assistant told me that the last of the Blake family's assets had been swallowed by Vale Group. Seeing my unrestrained smile, she still looked confused. Ms. Vale, do you really have no feelings for Ronan Blake anymore? I shook my head. No. From beginning to end, the only person I have ever loved is Ronan. My assistant was even more confused. Then why won't you let Mr. Langford donate his kidney to Mr. Blake? The damage would be to Mr. Langford's body, not yours. Why do you care so much? My gaze turned sharp and cruel. Loving Ronan and wanting him dead do not conflict. Now all of the Blake family's assets are under my name. It's time to reveal this grand performance.